Here you go, Fuego.
Oh, thanks, Pa.
No problem. Time to have some fun. Hey everyone, welcome to the horror show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Fuego here.
He's fine. See, nothing happens. Nothing happens.
Sometimes.
Just don't watch him waddle off camera. Okay.
I'm back.
Alright, guys. We're here to review Ma. Now, this is a brand new release from Universal Pictures and Blumhouse. And this is going to be a non-spoiler review. We may get to spoilers at the end. Depends on how we feel throughout the review. But if we do, we will definitely warn you. As of right now, kind of planning it to be a non-spoiler. So
yeah, you're safe, guys.
yeah, we'll do this like we do our normal reviews, which is we'll talk about the overall thoughts. Then we'll talk about the story, the acting, the effects, the sound, all that good stuff in turn. So let's start off here with our overall thoughts, Fuego. And I'm going to go first and say that I was unfortunately disappointed with this movie. Now, that's not to say that it's a complete disappointment. I was overall disappointed. I was... The trailers market it as much more of a horror movie than it actually ends up being.
Not at all.
The horror ends up kicking in towards the last, 20 minutes of the movie. And it's just a really long setup up until then. It's not a poorly executed setup.
Yeah, not boring either, but just not horror.
Not
really.
horror. And not enough comedy. Anyway, overall thoughts were I was disappointed, although not by all of it. I thought the performances were all good, especially Octavia Spencer. But yeah, just overall, I guess I was just hoping for more. What about you, Fuego?
I was most definitely hoping for more, especially with the setup that we saw in the trailers about, hey, if you party with Ma, you're going to end up in a really terrible situation inevitably. And, you see in the trailers that does happen, kids waking up and not remembering where jewelry is gone and, how the night turned out and stuff like that. But really, they could have gone much more frightening. Because
darker.
I've been in those situations when I was 17 and the weird parent who's come party with us.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
It's okay. I won't
why do you
tell.
want to drink with all of us? And we're 15, 16, 17 years
No, it's
old.
cool.
That's
I'm one of the cool guys.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about me.
Just don't tell your parents.
Yeah.
And I'm
You expect Chris Hansen to come out from around the corner going, how you doing tonight?
Well, how long has ours just been stupid? Yeah, this movie, I don't know. It wasn't bad, but just the execution was, I don't know. I feel like false advertising to some degree, at least as far as...
Everything that's in the trailer happens in the movie.
It does,
It's not
but
false
it's just,
advertising,
yeah,
but it did set you up for a movie that didn't happen.
And being Blumhouse, you would probably think it's going to go a lot harder than it actually does. So.
Well, yes and no. Sometimes they do, sometimes they do hold back, and this one couldn't have been rated R.
Oh, it was.
It was?
Yeah, that's rated R.
Why?
I don't know. I'm not part of the MPAA, sir.
Fuego, you explain to me right now why they decided to give this one an R rating. Was it the language?
Remember the Luke Evans change?
Oh, yeah, that's why. That's why. Yeah.
Anyway.
Guys, you know what? Yeah, we can't
that.
spoil that, but there is a reason for an R rating, and it's not quite what you'd think.
Yeah, I think there was an F-bomb here or there, and there was also lots of implied sexuality and stuff, throughout the film. And
yeah.
So,
yeah.
That probably has something to do with it. But yeah, overall, I was not disappointed by performances, really, even of the kids. And we'll get into that with the acting. I thought, casting was great. We even had, oh boy, what is the lady who just got
Allison Janney?
Yes, who was the boss of very small role.
Yep.
Yeah, but she was in.
I don't know why I knew you were talking about her, because I felt like she was completely wasted in this.
Completely, but
she is an absolute comedic
year.
genius, and she's the mom in Mom, the show on TV with Anna Faris.
Okay, and then she's also in she's the mother of Tonya Harding's Margot Robbie.
Okay.
In that film last year, and she won an Oscar for it.
Completely wasted in this, and
she's in just a couple of scenes, and you also have Luke Evans. Juliette Lewis. There's a solid cast in this, and none of them are particularly bad. It was just I don't know. We will get into
You
all
even
of
get the
those.
guy from Pee-wee's Big Adventure who is also in The Naked Gun.
Which one?
He is credited as the Enrico Palazzo guy.
2.5.
Where he's like, hey,
or
it's
33.
Enrico Palazzo! And he also is the grown-up kid Nightmare from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, isn't he? Isn't that the
Maybe.
same actor?
I don't remember Pee-wee's Big Adventure very well.
Oh, you're fired.
Yeah, I know. Dude, I know 2.5 and 33 and a third, and I know the Naked Gun movies.
Large Marge is going to
Files
get you.
from Police Squad.
Large Marge is going to get you. All right, so back to the movie. Let's get
story.
into it.
Yeah.
The story is it's exactly what the trailer says. It's a group of kids that are looking to have someone buy them alcohol. They happen across Octavia Spencer's Sue Ann character, and she eventually agrees to get them booze, and then it slowly escalates, and it turns into not only a stalker movie, but a jilted lover movie with a soupçon of misery thrown in.
Well, yeah, and
Right? Did you tell me you didn't get misery vibes at certain times?
I totally got misery vibes, and it's funny because in some of the press stuff they have compared it to that, which
Oh,
makes,
really? Okay.
Yeah, which makes sense. But for me, I mean, it was.
I'm a professional.
There was also kind of a underlining B story of sorts that we get to through flashback and stuff like that. That we really can't mention here because that would be probably spoilery.
Well,
but
no,
it just deals with the fact that Juliette Lewis's character, who is the mother of our main girl.
Oh, no, this
and
is
then
in the trailer.
Also, is that in the
Yeah,
trailer?
there's that scene where they sit down together, and she sits down with the daughter, and she's like, I went to
and there's
school
also a
with her.
scene with Luke Evans, you know, and her at the bar. That's in the trailer as well. So basically, Octavia Spencer, you know, from the Help, Oscar, you know, caliber actress and stuff. In this particular film,
She was in The Shape of Water, too, as the friend, wasn't she?
Yeah. Yes, she was. Yeah.
She was in another Oscar-winning movie.
Yes, totally. But yeah, so her character, Juliette Lewis, Luke Evans, and Mercedes, whoever the hell that actress was, who I recognize.
Who has been in so
I've seen her
much
in
stuff.
Tons of stuff. Yeah.
So much stuff.
Yeah, they all went to high school together, and they have kind of a little sordid, intertwining history of sorts. And so that plays very heavily, actually, as far as Ma's motivation and some of her just aggravation and deep-rooted anger and stuff like that, and why she might have a motive for getting involved with some of these kids. And honestly, when you trace it back to her seeing the van initially early on, that's what like made the little light bulb click in her head.
That's the thing,
because
so-
she turned away from them initially, and then when she saw the name on the van, that's
Right.
when. Yeah.
So I feel like this is a good place to say that I actually didn't hate the story of this movie at
neither.
all. I
No,
was
it's
actually
just not a horror movie,
engaged.
really.
It's not a horror movie. This is at most a thriller.
Yeah.
And but it was kind of accomplished in its storytelling as long as you can get through the more vapid teenage parts. The fact that the story did focus heavily on Ma's backstory, that's interesting.
Very much
that's
so.
different.
She's the most interesting
and
character
so
in the movie.
I did like that, and I do give the movie props for that, because here's what I found myself feeling during the movie. I literally took a moment and was like, how am I feeling right now? And I was feeling like I am entertained. I'm not laughing. I only laughed out loud twice.
Yeah, it's
and
not-
they were more like
Yeah, and
kind
it's
of things. Hang on.
It's not a movie rife with comedy.
Right. No, it's not. It's not. And you think it would have been, considering it's a lot of teenage action. And then I also felt like I'm interested, but not like I'm whelmed, but not overly so.
Not completely
Yeah.
engaged. Yeah.
I'm not underwhelmed. I'm definitely not overwhelmed. I was pretty much just whelmed.
Okay.
And it just didn't do a lot for me, but I didn't hate the movie. Like, I respected what they were doing. I respect the hell out of Octavia's performance, which we'll get to in the acting, but how did you feel about the story?
I didn't really mind the kids as much as even in some other like teeny-centric movies that I've seen recently. You know, I mean, I don't know, they were okay enough, and they actually looked like high school kids.
Yeah.
You know, that's one big thing where you're like, oh man, they look late 20s. What is going on? These kids are totally not in high school. They were convincing enough in this, especially, and I mean. I did enjoy that backstory with her, and just seeing the weird motivation. There was other stuff, though, with, like, her daughter, for instance, that I didn't think was necessarily explained very well. And, you know, I can't go into that, obviously, because that's kind of spoilery. But, yeah, as a whole, it just didn't do it for me. Based on premise, I was expecting more execution, you know, and that didn't necessarily transpire. And then, yeah, I don't know, thriller, man, thriller to a T, and much more even on the dramatic side than on the like purely thrilling side. So,
yeah, I agree. It was more of that, and I don't know. They sent out a nice unboxing, which we put up earlier today. It was a surprise unboxing, and they sent it out to a bunch of YouTubers, and it was fun. You know, we made it a part of our opening sketch. There, we have a Ma cup here, so you know, we appreciate what they were trying to do, but it almost makes me wonder if they felt like it was a bit of a weaker outing, and so they had to do a little bit of extra marketing for the film.
Maybe.
Or do you think it's just because they were going up against Godzilla?
Yeah, which is a daunting, you know, monster.
It is a daunting
It's a daunting monstrosity to take on, but counter-programming, like I said the other day on a different show.
And again, I mean, I can't say that it's a bad movie. It's not a bad movie. It's just not groundbreaking. It's not the horror that you get out of the trailer.
And I had something come to me, whereas that like just now in the midst of the discussion, it's like, okay, even when she started sending those like video messages that we see in the trailers, you know, where she's like, come and party with me, blah blah blah, I didn't find that scary. I just found that sad and pathetic.
I agree.
You know, and I just, I'm like, this is a lonely, sad person who wants company, and I didn't find it scary. I found it just more disheartening and upsetting, and I felt bad for her. And I almost sympathized with her to a degree.
I agree.
And so I wasn't like, oh my God, this chick is so scared. She's such a creep. She wants to party with the kids. It was more so, God, that sucks, man. She doesn't have anybody, you know?
Yeah.
And,
no, I agree with you. So let's talk about the effects. I mean, there were some. It wasn't an effects-heavy movie, but we got some stuff a little later on. It was, I would say, you know, unfortunately light in the effects department. I mean, I don't know how much I was expecting after the trailer, but we didn't get much. You know, I think that's pretty much what we determined when we walked out, like, oh, this wasn't the horror movie bill of goods that we were sold,
and yet
this is much more thriller, and so there's not a lot of effects to speak of. You know what I mean?
And yet the third act stuff that transpires, somebody had mentioned that in a review, which is one of the only times where we get some sort of like mild prosthetic like kind of stuff going on with one character in particular. It's like, this girl won't shut up. That's all that I can say.
Yeah.
And I thought that was actually effective and kind of cool. But aside from that, it was just, you know, this weird like kind of rural town that they're in, and you know, cool set design and stuff, partying at the weird rocks area, and
the rock pile.
Yeah, the rock yeah, the rock pile. We're just gonna go drink at the rock pile. That's what we do in these small towns where there's nothing to do. Let's just go drink at the rock pile. But I mean, locales were pretty, I guess, if you're talking about rural, location sighting and things of that nature. I don't know. There's really not much to describe in this department, but I will say that music did play kind of a factor in her weird musical sensibilities.
Go ahead, you tackle it.
Oh, her affinity for just strange 80s pop music to some degree was very amazing. I thought that was cute.
Here's the thing. It hit me in such a weird way because it reminded me of when I was a kid going to skating rinks.
Yes.
It was all the songs that you'd play
Great Skate,
at Great Skate. Yeah, for sure. At Great Skate. And so
we're in Arizona.
I'm like hearing that, and it was, what is the Weekend song she was singing at one point?
I'm trying to remember now.
I can't remember, but when you guys hear it, you're going to be like, oh, crap, blast from the past, super 80s. And I was actually born in 80s, so I didn't really get that. Like, I was
83.
When we were skating in the early 90s, they were playing 80s music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
so
that's
early
how we know all
this
was
stuff.
Still reaching back to
that
decade for
absolutely.
most of their influence and stuff.
So that was a trip. You know, I was like, oh, I've skated to this song numerous times. Yeah. Meanwhile, weirdness is going on screen, but not super weirdness.
Yeah, and I mean, sound design wasn't anything too incredibly. I mean, lots of like weird phone call stuff with her, and you know, the whole video message aspect and whatnot. But I mean, did we really tackle acting properly? I think we kind of
no. I guess we glossed over it.
We didn't.
No, we did gloss over it. I went straight to effects, which, you know, let's get back to the acting because we'll have more to talk about.
Yeah. Octavia was great,
yes.
And I haven't personally seen The Help, but she was one of the standout characters along with Michael Shannon in The Shape of Water. For me, I thought both of their performances were tremendous, and she. If I can sympathize with her, like I was saying just a moment ago, and actually just feel bad as opposed to being like, oh, she's this vile menace that just wants to mess with these kids, but that's the way the trailer portrayed her, but you really find that she's kind of pushed towards a breaking point of sorts, you know, and we don't know when that's going to happen or if it's even going to happen, but she's kind of teetering, you know, based on personal history with the parents of some of these kids.
Right.
And I thought that was fantastically fascinating, and not even the kids were bad. That, you know, a few of them played their stereotypical roles well enough, but I thought Juliette Lewis's daughter was actually very good. I saw her recently in Booksmart. She was the love interest of one of the girls in that. She was very good. And you saw her in Into the Dark, one of the segments in that.
Yes.
You were telling me?
Yeah, in the Flesh and Bones segment.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second Into the Dark Hulu movie.
Okay. Yeah, so
she was good in that.
Yeah, and she was solid in this too. I thought,
again,
honestly.
she's Anne Hathaway light. You're gonna see a lot more of her.
Give her time. Let's bring that on. But yeah, everybody else was, you know, solid as well. Luke Evans, I mean, kind of undersold. He's only in a few
Luke Evans
scenes,
is
but,
really underutilized.
Yeah, but he did have some interesting menace with one scene in particular,
Yeah, I know
which
which
is
one you're
floating
talking about.
around online.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it was already floating around online, so it's not
bar
spoiler
scene?
for us to mention that, you know, they have a history, you know, reaching back to high school, and
Tension.
Yeah, he's like, I have a
You don't need
tracker.
to say what, but there. No,
Okay.
no, it's tension. It's a tension-filled scene. So.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're gonna see it, let's let them experience the few bits of tension that they can get. You know what I mean?
Because there's honestly not a lot. You know,
There's not.
It's more so kind of picking up the pieces.
But to piggyback on what you said,
pieces,
I agree. I thought the performances were all more than at least serviceable or good. You know
I've
what I
seen
mean?
some really bad kid stuff, man, and the kids
Kids were all definitely
really
no,
terrible.
none of the kids like basically
bitchy
pointed
popular
themselves
girl,
out
you know?
as
I mean,
hey, I'm the one that's too old to be in this crowd. They actually all looked like they belonged together. They actually looked like they were young enough. And honestly, the youthful look of one of the kids brought the age of the entire group down by about 3 or 4 years.
big time, and actually made the connection with Ma even more unsettling.
Yes, I agree. But so while the kids were at least serviceable and the main girl was good, again, Octavia Spencer blew it out of the water. She did really, really good job. Luke Evans did a good job with the bit that he was given.
Same with
I'm
Juliette
a
Lewis,
really big fan of Luke Evans. You keep saying her name, and I don't know why it's hitting me wrong, but I know that's her name, but it's hitting me wrong for some reason.
Natural Born Killers.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Wow.
You know, that's one of the Oliver Stone movies I haven't seen.
Showrunner.
Well, the horror show. All right, that's action or
Robert
thriller
Downey
or
Jr.
weird.
too, dude.
I know. I need
Woody
to see
Harrelson.
it. I do
good.
need to see
Yeah,
it.
let's review that.
We
Who
can.
wants Cecil to review Natural Born Killers with moi? Say in the
I'll
comments
do it.
below.
I'll do it. All right. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is there anything
It
else
wasn't
about
a
the
terrible movie.
performances?
It was just,
No.
I mean, it didn't wow me, and I was really hoping this was gonna wow me with the premise. I
was too.
I don't know. I was experiencing expecting to experience torture porn craziness with her taking these kids into captivity. Maybe I was.
I was hoping they
And
were going to go
when-
farther than they did.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially the point you're making, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, but you know, again, it's not a bad movie. It just wasn't what we were hoping it was going to be. It didn't live up to the expectations that the trailer set. Like, unfortunately, the trailer showed a lot of third act stuff, and that's not great.
Yeah, and honestly, maybe this is us to warn you, like, go into this expecting a dramatic thriller instead of, like, a full-on horror
Or
film.
if you haven't seen any of the trailers,
Yeah.
then go watch it.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe you would find a lot more appreciation with it. It's not that we didn't, it's the fact that, okay, based in, and I don't want to say misrepresentation or anything like that, but, I mean, go in expecting something that's not going to, like, scare the crap out of you with the motivations of this character, and you might appreciate it a whole lot more.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so. So yeah, guys, we'll go ahead and call it there. Why don't you let us know in the comments down below, what are your thoughts on this movie? If you have seen it, keep it non-spoilery in the comments. Let us know what you thought. If you haven't seen it yet, does this sway you one way or another? Are you interested? Are you not interested? Tell us why while you're down there. If you enjoyed the video, click that like button. And if you want to see more stuff like this, click that subscribe button. We did already put up our Godzilla reviews.
Godzilla,
And both
Zilla,
non-spoiler and spoiler. Again, we're not going to record a spoiler review for this movie.
I grew 2 more heads.
That's true. A lot of people really like that thumbnail and
Yeah, they
commented
did.
on it. I appreciate that.
And
So
yet Rob, he's like, I'm slightly aroused.
Yep.
And I was like, Rob.
All right, so let us know in the comments down below what you think of Ma. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias, and Jaime Fuego.
Thank you very much to all of our patrons. Until next time, remember, stay scared.